Hey up, I'm Guy Kestevan, the Tester Man, and hopefully you've realised, thanks to this fantastically realistic graphic of my head stuck on Danny McCaskill's body with the words Lezyne next to it, that I'm very lucky to be sponsored on Guy K's TV by Lezyne equipment through UK distributors Upgrade. So we've talked about why I think their lights are simply brilliant, but I think it's fair to say that Lezyne are probably even more famous for their pump range. So, with 19 track pumps, floor pumps, whatever you want to call them, and 20 hand pumps in the range, which ones have I chosen to use on a regular basis, and which others might you want to consider for your specialist needs? Sorry, that sounds way more sordid than it's meant to, but you know, things like digital options, CO2 options, and even shock pump options. So, gonna get camera over here, look on the desk, and talk you through what I really rate about these pumps, and also some upgrade options you might want to think about on some of them. So, this is the selection I've chosen to use, and basically it kind of illustrates the largest, well, I haven't checked if it's the largest, but I'm pretty sure this little Pocket Pro high volume is the smallest mini pump you can currently get from Lezyne, certainly on the mountain bike side. HV means it's high volume, so you're getting a large volume chamber on there, so it pumps a lot of air quickly, so it's great for gravel and mountain bike and basically anything up to about 30 psi. So first thing, really good bottle cage bracket, so that can strap on your pump to your bike wherever you want it. It just keeps it handy if you're not going with internal storage or a bag, and you pretty much get that with every pump that Lezyne do, certainly the cylindrical ones. And then they all kind of follow the same classic pump format really, which is, you know, your pump hit, you know, your actual pump, and then a hose that attaches on, so that screws in, and that's what helps them keep it really compact. And it's just dead simple. You can set them up for either Schrader or Presta, and in this case it's actually got the bit on the end, you can see there, is actually a valve tightening tool, because the problem with all potential problem with all screw-on pumps, and I think Lezyne kind of come in for more criticism on it sometimes, just because they're probably the most popular of the screw-on pumps, is if you don't release the pressure in the hose or your valve core is loose, then as you unscrew this, it can actually unscrew the core of your valve, and obviously you're back to square one, which can be deeply frustrating. So what Lezyne do is on all their hoses, they have a little pressure release system there, so it releases the pressure out of the hose, which means there's less of a grip, for want of a better word, on the valve. But in this case, you can tighten up your valve core before you start pumping anyway, to make sure that that doesn't happen. So yeah, this is the smallest one. This is the Pro version, so it gets this nice rainbow anodized format, and you kind of can basically work your way through a whole range of different standard volume and high volume pumps until you're getting up to something like the Grip Drive HV. Again, this comes in two sizes. You can see much bigger pump, so better suited for internal storage or backpack use. I mean, you can get it in a pocket, but it's quite tall. And then again, just out come the hose, choose which attachment you want, screw it in, and you're good to go. And while, you know, there obviously is a little bit more time spent screwing hoses on and off, and you have got to be careful with that Presta valve, the fact it's connected with a hose means you've got, the pump isn't in any way pressing on the valve itself, which can easily bend the core of the valve or cause other damage that means the whole job's knackered. So a little bit of time means a lot more convenience, and also just makes it easier to use. You know, you're away from the wheel, so I think. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's quite handy being able to slap a pump straight on there and flick a lever. I can see the appeal of that, but for sort of long-term practicality and ease of use, I'm a big fan of this traditional model. And also, all these pumps, you can see, all metal, apart from that collar there for the head of the cylinder, all metal, all just super high quality. This grip drive's got a really nice knurled finish on it for a bit more grip, hence the grip drive name. And they're just really, really well made, and all fully rebuildable as well. So, you know, it's just, I've had so many really clever pumps in the past where, you know, they've done some clever heads, or it's two-stage, or, you know, so it pumps easy at the start and then harder at the finish, or whatever. And it's just, they all seem to have some sort of glitch. I mean, not to say there aren't some good ones out there, but, you know, as soon as you get plastic involved, as soon as you have a narrow shaft that starts to flex, you're more likely for it to stick as you pump in, and that creates wear, that creates friction, and the whole thing just falls apart. And to be honest, in the days of tubeless tyres now, we don't need pumps that often. It's an occasional top-up. It's rare we get punctures compared to the old days. So your pump spends a lot of time sat without doing anything, especially if it's on an external mount. And you can see this one's fairly dirty, just because, I mean, it did the whole of the March Castle's Way on the outside of the Stig, and it's had that about a year, and it's still inside, still super smooth, super clean, super easy to use. And they're just really quality pieces to use. And that's basically what I'm trying to say is, you want to make sure when it does come time to use your pump that it actually works, which you can't always guarantee with a more complicated or just not as well-made design. So think about that before you pick up a pump from, you know, Aldi or wherever for £6 in their bargain bicycle sale, or you just go for something super fancy that isn't actually that great to use in the end. Although, if you do want fancy, not only do you get versions of these pumps with digital gauges on them for checking pressure, and also there are some, if it's got the name pressure drive in it, it means it's got a metal braided hose rather than a rubber hose. And that means you can use it with a CO2 cartridge, which is actually a really clever way of sort of packaging it all together. Although, again, I prefer to use a separate head with a CO2 cartridge, because that gives you the ability to meter the actual airflow. They're a bit more basic when it's just a cartridge, hose, valve, but still, you know, a really good way of packaging it all in a neat way. And then you get beauties like this, which is the CNC tubeless drive, which is, as you know, this is again beautifully made, but quite a chunky thing. This rarely comes with me on the bike if I'm riding solo, but useful to have in the van, and it always comes with me on the tandem. Because the clever bit about this is, you can see from the graphic in it, not only have you got a very good high volume pump for using basically as a floor sat pump, but also, pretty sure it's this one, yeah. Is it this? I should rehearse this, shouldn't I, really? Pretty sure it's in here. There we go. Yeah, see, you've got that CO2 cartridge is in there with an inflator on it, together with your bacon strips, however you want to call them, and your insertion tool. So it's a complete sort of tubeless repair kit with a CO2 blaster, and then a proper pump for topping things up. Nice little convenient package to sit on your bike. So that's the tyre inflators. Then this, I'm sure you'll have seen this when I'll be doing my shock videos as well. It's just, again, it's just classic Lezyne. It's just a really nicely put together, really sturdy and good to look at shock pump. You can see, nice independently moving hose there. You've got the release valve on it there. You've got a clear, robust dial up to 400 psi. You've got this gold anodizing on it. Again, it's a nice, just, you know, all metal, handles metal, that's metal, shafts metal. It's just really, really nicely put together, and you know, lasts well and is a joy to use. And then what I should have been able to show you is the digital shock drive, which is a much smaller pump, which is brilliant for using on a pack, taking on rides with you, and it's got a digital gauge on it. The only issue is it's so good to put in a pack and use on a ride, I don't quite know which packets got lost in. I've had a rummage around for about an hour trying to find the damn thing, but so that I have used it and it's absolutely great, but unfortunately I'll just have to put a static picture of it in here. And now we're moving on to the track pumps, floor pumps, whatever you're going to call them. And the first is the DTFD, Digital Travel Floor Drive. So this is designed as a very lightweight, compact pump. I mean, not for taking on the bike as such, but for camping or putting in your van or just, in your car, just to have with you. But it's still a fully functional track pump. So you've got those steel fold-out wings you've just seen there. Then you've got reversible screw-on chuck with the pressure release there. You've got digital pressure gauge in line one built into the hose there. And then you've got really good long stroke. Again, thick shaft, really smooth action, and a little compact resin handle on the end there. So, compact sizing, but a totally full function, again, super durable, really easy to rebuild pump. Then you've got this absolute old warhorse. I don't even think they I mean, this predates me being sponsored by Lezyne by, God, probably a decade at least. You've got a lovely proper wooden handle on it. You've got this really stout cast alloy sort of 3-lobe base, and having the 3 lobes to it really makes a difference to stability. You've got your digital gauge on there, and then on the bottom, I actually think this, in terms of head units supplied with Lezyne pumps, is probably the easiest to use of all. I mean, you see, it's looking a bit careworn now, but you've got Schrader, and then you've got Presta, and then a locking lever on top. You can actually buy that as an accessory, as an upgrade for all Lezyne pumps. And if you don't like the idea of a screw-on, then I think that's probably my favourite head out of the Lezyne range. And like I say, I think you can buy this, but with a black handle now, and that is the Sport Digital Drive. I don't think they call it that. Anyway, there is an equivalent now, but again, just that super solid Lezyne build quality, really nice wooden handle on it, and the digital gauge. And then you have this bad boy, the Digital Pressure Overdrive, which is basically, you've got your compressor tube there, you've got your digi gauge on top, and you pump that up, pressurize it up to 200 psi if you want to really pop a tire onto a rim. Then you attach the chuck onto the valve, then you pull that lever down, and that pops your tire onto the rim, as you'll see beautifully demonstrated on the sidebar over there. You wouldn't believe how long that took me to film with various battery and light failures on the way. But I put that clip on Insta before, and a few people picked up on the fact that I actually changed the head on it. This is an upgrade head, purely because I only use Presta in the workshop, so I didn't need... This is the head that normally comes with it. Again, you can see, really nicely put together, resin and metal with that classic Lezyne reversible screw-on head. But because I don't need that kind of Schrader valve functionality, Lezyne sent me this full upgrade, full metal lever head. So if you're only using Presta, I mean, like all of this Lezyne stuff, I have to say, it's not the cheapest option by far. You can probably get a track pump for less than that upgrade head unit costs if you shop around, and it'll probably do the job. It'll be okay, but these are just an absolute pleasure to use because they're so well made. I've seen a few people gripe about this release lever on there, but to be honest, I'd far rather have something metal, because I'm probably going to be using it with a rigger boot. I'm not going to be getting my hand down there. I'm going to be stamping on the damn thing. So this just seems like a really robust, it's a little bit agricultural maybe, but it seems a hell of a lot more robust way of doing it than a plastic base lever. And again, really nice, broad, wooden handle. Looks nice. Well, it would look nice, if it wasn't languishing in my workshop, getting filthy, being used all the time. But, perfectly nice to use if you have a very bougie workshop setup. Looks lovely in there, but just ultimately very, very bomb-proof, very practical. And again, like all the other pumps, like I said, there are 19 different floor pumps, 20 different hand pumps, all the other different pumps in the Lezyne range, fully rebuildable. So they're just an excellent investment in inflation, which is a way more polished summary sentence than I was expecting to come out with. But anyway, obviously, any more questions about Lezyne lumps or pumps, get busy in the comments. If you'd like to share your experiences with Lezyne pumps, and if you've got any comments that you'd like to pass on to Lezyne, I'll be seeing them at the Core Bike Show shortly. So, you know, it's a two-way street. You tell me what you'd like to see from Lezyne, and I can pass that on to them. But for now, thanks massively to Lezyne for sponsoring the channel, and thanks to you guys for watching this run-through on on some of their pump range. Make sure you tune in for the next one. Subscribe, like, notify, and if you really like what I'm doing on here, throw me a few quid on Patreon. See you for the next one. And that doorbell is Adrian from Carbon Wasp, coming with a brand new carbon frame for me. So make sure you keep an eye out for that edit as well.